Hi guys, welcome to Cheryl's Home Cooking. So let's get started. Welcome to Cheryl's Home Cooking, and today what I'm going to show you is my chili. It's super duper good, so let's get started. Brown 2 pounds of ground beef. While I'm waiting for my ground beef to brown, I'll chop up 1 large onion. It's a fairly large onion. So now I'll dice it up. I'll place it in with my ground beef. So it's a rough chop. Now I'll place this in with my ground beef. You'll drain off any excess grease. See how you can see a little bit right here? Just drain it off before you place your onions in. So now I'll place my onions in. Mix them in. Once the onions are soft and the hamburger is fully browned, that's when I'll add it into the crock pot. I minced up 3 garlic cloves that I'll place in my frying pan with my ground beef and onion. I'll mix it in. Give it a few minutes and then I'll add this to the crock pot. I'm chopping up the ground beef so it's not large chunks. That looks about done. So now I'll turn my burner off and place this in my crock pot. I'll add in 1 28-ounce can of the diced tomatoes with green chilies. So I'll open this up and place it in my crock pot. So into the crock pot it goes. Along with that 1 28-ounce can of diced tomatoes with green chilies, I'm going to add in 1 quart of my homemade tomato sauce. I'll mix it around. To the 28-ounce can of diced tomatoes and green chilies and my 1 quart of homemade tomato sauce, I'm going to add in 2 cups of beef broth. I'll mix that around. I'm just waiting on my ground beef and onions. Now for my spices, I'll add in 2½ tablespoons of chili powder. There's 1, 2, and I'll eyeball the half. So that's 2½ tablespoons of the chili powder. tablespoons of the cocoa powder. So there's 1, 2, 1 teaspoon of sugar, 2 teaspoons of paprika, there's 1, 2, 2½ teaspoons of cumin, ground cumin, there's 1, 2 and a half, teaspoon of salt, teaspoon of black pepper, and that's it for my spices. So now I'll add all this into my crock pot. Mix it all in. I have my crock pot on low. Once I place the ground beef and onion in, I'll place it on high. So now I'll put the lid on. So into the crock pot it goes. Oh yeah, doesn't that look good? Get all the onions out of the pan, the garlic. Now I'll mix it in. I'll put my crock pot on high. Oh yeah, that looks good. I have 2 cans of the chili beans, and it's a 15.5 ounce can. I'll open that up and then place that in my crock pot. I'll drain the beans. Now I'll add the other can. So now I drained both cans. I'll place them in my crock pot. Mix it in. And I like to let this simmer for a couple of hours. Oh yeah, that's going to be nice and thick and yummy. So now I'll put the lid back on and just let it simmer for a couple of hours. I usually let it cook on high for about 3 hours total. For some added heat, I place 10 pepperoncinis on my cutting board. I'll cut it up and place it in my crock pot. So I cut the tips off. You don't have to add these in. This is optional. So now I'll place them in my crock pot. And into the crock pot they go. Mix it in. Now that my pepperoncinis are mixed in, I'll place the lid on top. So I put some chili in a bowl. Doesn't that look good? So now I'll give it a try. It's a little bit hot. Mmm. Really good. Deserves a second bite. Mmm. Really, really good. Nothing like homemade chili. This recipe is super good. Give it a try. In my chili, I use the Zaycon Hamburg, and it really tastes good. So I'll leave the link below, and you can check out Zaycon in your area. Just put in your zip code. So thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of Cheryl's Home Cooking, and watch me make my homemade chili. It's super good. Give it a try. I'll see you guys next video. Bye-bye. Well, thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of Cheryl's Home Cooking. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video. Bye-bye.